Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies.
Hey, gang. Welcome back to another PATE&PLACE. Thanks for clicking on that button and tuning in to another episode. Guys, I'm so glad you tuned in once again. Thank you so much for your patience. Yes, it's still a hard year and it's taken me time to put one foot in front of the other, but I appreciate your patience. I'm still going to try to get these videos out. It's just kind of a slow process moving forward this year, and I just thank you for all your comments, your support, your prayers, ever since the channel started. Thank you guys so much. That being said, today guys, we're going to jump back to that magical year, 1956. Elvis did a tour of Florida at the end of the summer of 1956, and so many of the iconic photos that we know today came from that tour. Well, today we're going to look at one specific date, August 7th, 1956, in St. Petersburg, Florida, at the Florida Theater. There's no audio or video captured, but a radio interview backstage before the show did survive, where Elvis generously and kindly sets the record straight on a lot of things that were swirling around him at the moment. It's very cool, the interview. I think you'll enjoy it. So alright guys, if you're ready, let's rock and roll. Okay gang, clear your minds and let's jump back nearly 100 years. Where in 1926, one of 4 super luxurious theaters was erected. The city's first air-conditioned building, the Florida Theater. 30 years later, that air-conditioned would be tested when the hottest name in show business came to town. Elvis, the Blue Moon Boys, and the Jordanaires would be performing 3 shows that day at 3:30, 7 o'clock, and at 9:30 p.m. The paper reported if you're going to be in line, you better bring a lunch. Also reported that the theater hired 6 off-duty policemen to handle the crowd inside, which will turn out to be comical later, guys. It's reported that fans shoved, pushed, and stampeded their way into the theater. Although confusion and hysteria reigned over the mob, police kept the crowd in control, where several faintings were reported, but no injuries. And here we get a fantastic shot of the guys' cars parked in the back alley of the Florida Theater. Look at all the people on the fire escapes, guys, and the police at the end of the alley. Well, a few of those fans actually made it up to Elvis's dressing room and were lucky enough to get pictures and an autograph from their idol. Lucky for us, there were several photos of Elvis made backstage that day, and as promised, a radio interview by DJ Bob Hoffer.
Well, kids, like I promised you about 24 hours ago from this very minute, I would do my best to get the boy himself to say something to you. And lots of you have written and asked if we couldn't get him on the show. Well, the problem there is that the guy just has to have a little time of his own, and he has little enough of it. So he is gracious enough to ask us to come up here and talk with him in the dressing room. And there are, let's see, 3 of his buddies here, and Joanna's over in the corner. So you're in good company with Elvis Presley. And Elvis, I'm awfully glad to take this opportunity to talk with you a little bit.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. It's a pleasure, too. And is that your wife over in the corner?
That is my wife, Joanne, yes. Woo! Now, Joanne will be the envy of everybody at the platter party tonight. She has been wooed at by Elvis Presley, and I thank you, Elvis. I agree with you, incidentally. Sure do. You know what I was impressed, first of all, I saw you? You're a taller boy than I had figured. How tall are you, Miss Stan?
Even 6 foot.
Are you? I had not pictured you as quite so tall. You, what sports have you indulged in any when you were in school?
Well, I tried to play football and never could make it, and I was very good at it.
So, give it up for the gift fiddle slinging, huh?
Yeah.
I don't blame you a miserable bit, not as well as you've done. What I would like to find out from you, I know that probably your tough problem on these tours is getting enough rest to do the job you do on the stage. How do you manage the confounded rest on these tours?
Well, I don't. In fact, I don't any of us get much rest. We just, And it's a lot worse when you do 2 or 3 shows a day, 3 and 4. We do 4 sometimes.
So you just have to catch it when you can, is that right?
That's right. And usually when it's all over with, there's a lot of people around, and you just don't get much rest at all.
So just between tours, you've got to climb in the sack somewhere and rest a little while. Is that the idea?
Yes, that's right. We average maybe 4 or 5 hours a night.
Where do you call home now?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Your parents up there now in a nice big house you bought them?
Yes, sir.
Good. I heard a lot about that, and it's a fine thing. Something else I heard about, too, a piece of your property. I heard the bad luck you had with the Lincoln over in Tampa. Is that true? About in the garage?
That wasn't too bad. Some of the kids got my gas cap and some of my cigarette lighters, but that was the fault of the garage.
Somebody said they got in the hubcaps, too. Is that not true?
No, that's
I'm so glad. I could just see you buying 4 hubcaps for a Lincoln. That would cost more than the car I drive, believe me.
Go ahead. I think the Continental hubcaps are $50 each. That's $200 for a set.
Wow. What's this $350 hood ornament you were telling me in a row?
Yes, the ornament on the Lincoln Continental is $350 because it's white gold plated.
Wow. Listen, the one thing I did want to check with you on, I know you don't get a chance to keep up with things too much when you're on the tour. Did you know that Ed Sullivan was injured in an automobile accident?
Yes, sir. I read it in the paper.
He is not going to be able to make his show until the 19th of August.
Is that right?
That's the first one he'll be able to make. I thought you might be interested in that. And when are you due on the Sullivan show again?
My first one is September 9th.
Maybe have a new platter out for Victor by that time?
I doubt it.
You doubt it, really?
I shouldn't have, because I just had a release.
Oh yes, and you've done pretty well with it too. Over 1 million copies in something like 2 weeks for Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel, is that right? Yeah. 3 gold platters you've got yourself now for Victor, and I think it's a fine thing. 4! Excuse me! 4.
I got one for Heartbreak Hotel, one for Hound Dog, one for I Want You, I Need You, I Love You, and one for my album.
The album too has gone over 1 million. No kidding. That's almost fantastic in the record business, isn't it? Well, Elvis, there are a couple other things. I saw in the paper night before last that Hal Wallace is thinking of starring you in a picture with Jerry Lewis. Had you heard that one?
Jerry Lewis.
With Jerry Lewis? Had you heard? Really?
I hadn't.
Well, there's something for you to think about.
Dean and Jerry broke up.
Yes, that's true. So
I heard something about that, but I mean, I don't think I...
What do you mean?
I don't know.
You don't think you and Jerry get along?
That's Dean Martin. Well, it's not that. I mean, that's Dean Martin, and it'll always be Dean and Jerry, nothing else.
Well, I sort of agree with you on it. Speaking about partners and enemies and so forth, what's the Pat Boone situation with you? You know Pat?
Well, I know Pat very well. I didn't know anything about anything like that except when I read this radio, TV mirror, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When they said Presley and Boone battled it out, well, that's nothing. I mean, Pat Boone and I are very good friends.
And you're not fighting with Pat Boone?
Never. Pat's one of the nicest guys I ever met. I'm sure I don't think he'd say anything bad about me, you know.
No, I think the only time you've crossed swords on songs is Tutti Frutti, isn't it? It's the only two that you've
both of us had a flop on it, so we didn't have anything to fight about.
Good. Okay. Well, we've had quite a time here with Elvis, and he's getting ready to take off, I know, and to finish that lunch, I guess, he had here.
Well, I didn't have enough. They didn't bring me but one sandwich, and that's just an appetizer.
There was one other thing I wanted to check with you. What has been your own personal reaction to the reaction of your fans as a result of the Steve Allen appearance?
Well, the kids didn't like it, you know. In other words, they were writing letters in and telling them to leave me alone, leave me the way I was, and all that. But I believe that I won a lot of new friends, you know, by doing that, by showing them that I could act like a gentleman if I wanted to.
Well, he doesn't mean it. Go ahead.
Which is not the way that I, started out.
Sure. Well, Elvis, I don't want to take up any more of your time, Garson. You got 1,000 things to do, and I thank you for this 5 or 6 minutes. It's been wonderful, and Joanne and I can go home, and Joanne can sit there starry-eyed after having been wooed at. And I thank you so much for this time, and I personally want you to know that on the Bob Hopper Show, there are no anti-Elvis Presley fan clubs at all. It's all for Elvis Presley, and that we spin at least 3 to 4 of your records each evening in a 45-minute period as the result of the demand of the kids. So, and I also want you to know that as a result of our poll at our platter party Saturday night, Hound Dog, And Don't Be Cruel were number 1 and 2 in St. Petersburg in that order with the kids. And I think that ought to be good news to you. Okay, thanks very much, Elvis. And
Thank
lots
you,
of
sir.
love in the future.
Thank you very much.
Right, bye.
The following day, the St. Petersburg Times described the scene as this: a Pied Piper of rock and roll, a swivel-hipped, leg-lashing entertainment bomb blasted the downtown area into chaos all day yesterday. Screaming, fainting teenagers lined the streets early to catch a glimpse of Elvis Presley, a rockabilly gyrating singer who shattered show business with his sultry style. He hit St. Petersburg with the effect of a small H-bomb, sending fans in mass hysteria and receiving an ovation rarely seen on the Sun Coast. 65 shrieking fans stretched the seams of the Florida theater to its breaking point.
Wow.
Police also reported that this was their toughest job. Remember those 6 policemen? Well, 25 reserve policemen were also called in later that day. One fire marshal remarked, "I hope we never have anything like this again." Police were outdone and outnumbered during the afternoon. Police had their hands full with hysterical teenagers who ran weeping from the theater after Presley had conducted his show. "I can't stand it. I can't stand it," screamed a girl about 15. Patrolman Jim Crump said, "I can't stand it either, but I'm not crying about it." Elvis appeared in black pants, a white shirt, and a Kelly green jacket. The paper read, "At first sight, the walls came tumbling down. The audience immediately rose en masse to its feet and screamed its welcome, and then went wild. The girls tore their hair. The boys looked more in awe than impressed. Hysteria reigned supreme, as did Elvis." The prestigious theater would last 11 more years, and in 1967 was demolished to make way for a bank parking lot. There you have it, guys. How'd you like that? That was some interview, huh? It wouldn't have been something to have been around those Florida shows back then. The mass hysteria and the craziness that was going on swirling around Elvis at the time. I love the photos of the crowd to see their reactions and how they're responding to Elvis. Thank you once again for tuning in. I'm so glad you enjoy the videos. You guys are the best. Keep smiling, sharing, subscribing, and as always, guys, barking.